back for the conclusion of our exciting Amazing Adventures episode.
Jump in the ring, destiny calls, together as friends, we'll get through it all. Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders. The sun and the moon will show us the way. With love in your hearts, come join us today. Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders. Jewel power. We got jewel power. Our circle is growing. We're ready and strong. Together as one. That's where we belong. Feel the magic of the Jewel Riders. Jewel power. Jewel power. Jewel power. Ah, Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders.
Are we here? Oh, you're recording! You're rude! You were hoping to catch your ridiculousness. Okay, we'll start it over. Hold on. Hello! I am the Frog Prince. We are going to be telling the story of Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders. Okay, here we go. Once upon a time in 1993,
It's
there
blurry,
was...
dear. Pull it back.
Once upon a time, in 1993, there were Toy Fair catalogs that Mattel made. If you were featured in a catalog, well, there was a good chance you would never actually make it to production. So here's where we start our story. In 1994, Enchanted Camelot was about to come out, and people said, that's stupid. And so we did not make Enchanted Camelot. Instead, we made Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders.
I
And then
thought this
we
was
were
about the Dragon Riders of Pern.
Well, see, what it was we said, well, you know, the people in Europe, they will not really like a princess named Gwenevere, so we need to call her Starla. And then
Because
Robert...
that's a great name.
Exactly. And then Robert Mandel was like, no, I do not like that name. But his Gregatore were like, no, we like the name. We're going to call her Starla. Shut up. Go away. And then Robert was like, okay, I go away. And then they
And then he
made...
just never came back.
And then they made the show, Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders, and it is very blurry because it knows it is not this beautiful face. Like, people are not blurry, but things are. So anyway, yes, so we made the show in 1995 to 1996, and then
You made the show.
I
All
did.
You.
Yes, me and
With
my
your grandpa.
and my
in the
grandpa
shed?
Toad. Yes, my grandpa Toad inside of our garage. We made all 6 seasons, 30 episodes. We made them all. And then what happened was there was great writers. The great writers made such shows as Trouble in Elf Town and Mystery Island. They were fabulous, wonderful shows. And then anyway, and then we were basically like, okay, we're done. No more Gwenevere for you. And we took away the show. And that was the end of Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders. And then, like, 20 years later, there was this guy. That guy. He made the edits to the movie, and he put the audio from his old VHS, and he made the videos, and then the copyright owner was like, I see money! So then he was all like, can we use your audio? And then that guy was like, yes, but please to give us credit. And then he was like, okay, ha 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 ha. I mean, am I on camera? Yes, we will give you credit. And then what happens? Like 3 months later, it's like, oh, there it is. And you watch the show and it's like, no credit for you. And that was the end of Jewel Riders. Thank you.
Excellent performance.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm throwing a virtual flower at the screen.
Is this going on YouTube?
Only if you wanted to.
Because that guy is the master of YouTube. So he will decide. Thank you,
And I'm
Frank.
betting his love of content will overrule his desire to not be seen as a crazy person.
Shut up! Come away!
Oh my god.
Okay, there we go. And exit out.
Oh,
Insane. I think you needed that.
did I?
With your blue Mountain Dew from Taco Bell. Let me guess. I'm going to use the fortune jewel here. Dingly
Say the
dee.
force.
No, I was going to say, how does it go? Dingly doo, dingly dee. What did Chris eat for lunch? He had a Mexican pizza.
Partially.
And he had a beef burrito.
Actually, yes, I did.
And you had cinnamon twists.
No, I did not.
Oh, damn it. I
Your
was
predictive
close.
powers have failed you.
Well, you know. And you had a blue drink.
I had a green drink, thank you, Sir Colorblind.
You're green. That looks blue. Okay, I'm gonna take a poll right now. Who thinks that looks? Is this like the green and the gold dress or whatever? That is blue. That is not green.
This is
This
a
is
Baja
green.
Blast Mountain
green.
Dew, and it is green.
Okay, whatever. We're starting this video thing. We're
We're
done.
starting as crazy people is what we're starting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
You got your water. You good?
Yeah. It's like, no, you don't. Don't be starting. I'm not ready.
I
Okay,
know you're
no,
not.
we're
You
cutting.
had to have a puppet show for 5 minutes.
We're gonna cut and start over. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Why does it say that? Oh, it says it's been recording. It says an hour, but we've been on the phone for an hour. It's like, you've been recording this for an hour?
I sure hope not.
I know, right? Okay, here we go.
Hey, Jewel fans. I'm Chris.
And I'm Ronnie from the Jewel Writers Archive.
We're here today live in color. Who is this?
The Froggy Bruto. Isn't that like what they say in that The Frog Prince movie that was animated in 2009?
Boy, you just want to be in the 90s, don't you, Mr. Frog Prince? Someone's obsessed with the 1990s, I guess, much like us.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So, we've got some updates that we wanted to talk to you guys about today. And the first one is really pretty exciting. I don't know how many of you have seen already that the show is up on Peacock.
What show?
Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders, not Starla. We don't know her.
Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders. Hopefully that
Yeah,
was
so-
tone deaf enough for you.
Yes, my ears are
Oh
bleeding.
my goodness, I'm
My
sorry.
ears bleeding, Bert.
So yes, Princess Gwenevere is on Peacock. Princess Gwenevere, with my audio, with my grandpa's 1996 VHS
Yeah,
audio.
Can you walk everyone through this?
I don't even have the time. I mean, just basically, as we've talked a little bit about it previously, and I think that this is something that we're actually going to talk about in a future episode as well, about, preserving cartoons or at least old shows, maybe. But anyway, so basically, just ripping the audio from a digital transfer of the home VHS, and then basically filtering it through an audio editor to get it levelized, and then syncing it to the video of, the torrent that we had, or any type of like a DVD rip or something like that. And that's basically how we made the Gwenevere episodes, or at least that's how I did it.
So for everyone who's watching this show on Peacock, for the first time that all of the Gwenevere episodes have been available from a non-YouTube person, We just wanted to let you know, like, this is the same audio you heard on YouTube for the last 8 years.
Yes. But now you can pay a Peacock subscription to watch it.
Exactly.
It makes it that much more magical.
Exactly.
You know, I'm just waiting for him to release it on DVD. And then I'm all like, oh, it's my audio on DVD. I mean, the German company Pedax already put some of our video sources on DVD.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah,
Guess it's
so
not the
we
first
did.
time.
You were visiting recently, and we actually pulled up Peacock and checked it out
Mm.
because we were like, I wonder, did they use just basically everything that we sent them? And they did.
And they didn't listen to me, and every episode has the Jewel Quest opening, even though I told them that each one has a unique opening for season 1. But you can still watch the openings on YouTube. We still have those up.
Yeah, those are all still available to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little sad to notice that they didn't catch the opening piece.
I guess it just makes me kind of feel, though, that, like, the, like, true, complete series is still not available because, like, the openings are wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like
you wait and wait and wait for these things to be perfect,
mm-hmm.
but from an official source, and it's like, they don't get it right. And you're just like, okay.
Well, it's just because, you know, as fans, we're just so particular about certain
Some
things.
might say picky.
Oh, yes. And I think it's just like working with the content. I mean, you know, it'd be different if it was like, oh, like, you know, a fan or like a super, you know, person involved, and we'll get to that because that's a segue, you know, is involved with something, and then you're like, oh, like, let me tell you how it should look or what it should do, kind of being like, you know, someone who comes in and is an advisor or something like that on the
Right.
process. But yeah, so one way or the other, I mean, they're there. They said that they were going to give us credit, and they didn't, but there you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we know, and it's going on my resume. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, I'm putting
Yeah,
it on
as
my
it should.
creative resume, you know,
As it
edited something for
absolutely
broadcast. So there you go.
Yeah. So,
Can I go
But-
to my segue?
yes.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
on your little
Okay.
segue and roll along.
There you go. Okay, so we were talking about, you know, when you're a super fan and you're really involved with something, about how hopefully then the product is going to be that much better. Well, I was just checking the Jewel Writer email, and all of a sudden there's this email from a Lauren who is a copyright, or rather who's an editor, and she's saying something about a retelling of Jewel Riders in story fashion through comics, and this was something that our contact with Bohbot had told us already, and we couldn't share it. Yeah, 41 Entertainment. I'm sorry, it's still Bohbot Entertainment or
I
whatever
know.
in my head. And they had already told us, like, oh, this would be in the works. And I think that the kind of thing that kind of immediately came to mind was that Avalon Web of Magic video where it's all like, oh, by the way, we're making this video. Great. When does it come out? Oh, it's going to come out soon. Stay tuned. Okay, I will. So when's it coming out? Never mind. And then, like, again, it's all like, you know, oh, by the way, we're doing this thing. Oh, great. When's it come out? Never mind. And so it's like, I'm not going to even assume that anything's coming out until I see, like, something
Yeah.
on the shelf. Or
Until I
something.
can go to barnesandnoble.com and order a copy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So,
Otherwise, everything seems to go the way of the dodo.
right.
So, like, yeah. So we got an email, and that's exciting. Yay!
Yeah, so these are going to be published by a studio called Mad Cave. And Mad Cave has an imprint called Maverick, which is going to be their YA, young adult, middle grade sort of comics. And that's what Jewel Riders is going to be under. In addition to, it sounds like they also licensed King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, which is another Bohbot 41 Entertainment series, which many of you may remember from the early 90s.
And we
And
have
many
some of
people,
those
for some
shows-
reason, think that those shows are connected, and they are not.
Right. Including
Yeah.
the copyright owner.
Yes.
We did share some videos for King Arthur on our YouTube channel as well. So on the Jewelers Archive channel, that there is a playlist of that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, they're very fun if you enjoy Arthurian flavored 90s animation. So
Yeah.
definitely recommended. You might also know the comic publisher Paper Cuts with a Z at the end.
'Cause
And
it's
they Yeah, exactly. It's because it's 2001 cool.
Exactly.
Apparently. They, for a long time, they were the publishers of comics for like Disney Fairies. They were recently acquired by Mad Cave. And since that acquisition, they're going to be publishing under the Paper Cuts license now, like Winx Club comics and what was the other one we saw? Flash Gordon. They're doing stuff with that. Actually, I'm sorry, Flash Gordon is under Mad Cave. But Paper Cuts had Miraculous Ladybug.
Oh yeah, Miraculous Ladybug. Yeah.
And Winx Club. And now Jewel Riders, all sort of in the same kind of family now, which is very fun.
But
So it's
still,
like you
this was a
have-
press release. This wasn't
Yes, this
like
is a press release, which we'll link in the notes.
this wasn't like actual like confirm that it's gonna be
No,
on
this
the
is not
shelf.
like a title page and some
Exactly.
sample pages.
Yes.
But
so we'll still
we-
see, you
which
know.
we did hear from Lauren, the editor at Mad Cave. I believe she's the senior editor for the Maverick imprint.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, well, she actually reached out to us, which was so sweet of her
Right.
to do that. I'm like, very, very sweet. Because I'm like, yeah, it's amazing to get like some early confirmation from somebody who actually works for this company
Right.
about what they're going to be doing.
I wonder what it's gonna look like. What is it gonna be reimagined as? Is it gonna
And-
be, is it gonna be like Avalon Web of Magic, where like the first iteration was very like 90s, 2000s, like, AY
Yes.
girl book. And then when Allie made the new, it's like, oh, it's anime. So it's like, which one is it gonna
Right.
be?
Yeah, I'm really curious what they'll do with the look of the show. Part of me, of course, is like, oh, I hope they don't stray too far. But part of me is like, oh, but please be creative
Hmm.
and don't be a Disney live action remake and just rehash the same.
There you
thing.
go. Right. But isn't that what we like? We like being rehashed.
what some people like? I guess.
Because we'll see. I think probably the thing that they're looking at is the two things, My Little Pony and She-Ra, probably as
Well,
examples.
yes, I'm
of-
sure like those two stick out really strongly as recent successes
Mhm.
in the girls focused
And like the
genre.
design, the elements, the story, things like that. So
Right. I honestly am expecting them to be a little more cartoony looking,
Mhm.
kind of like She-Ra's designs.
Like
But who-
Centaur World, maybe, or is
Maybe
that
like
too
Centaur
cartoony?
World. maybe they'll have a portal tummy for Gwen.
Exactly. For Glendale.
Yes.
Glendale. Isn't that how she sounded or something?
Yes.
Like that? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love that
And
show.
her, what was her cousin's name? It was another Costa Mesa, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh my
Something like-
gosh. We were just talking about the Centaur World blog, and I was like, oh, I remember when we watched that the last time. That was fun.
Yeah, when we burned through all the episodes in like 2 days.
Because it was fun to actually have like a show that you were like, ooh, like a new show that you're actually
know.
kind of interested in and like, fun to watch and
Yeah.
watching it together, things like that. And you even went out and bought a plush. So there you go.
I tried. I have not been able to still
Oh,
acquire one of
I
them.
thought that you did. You didn't?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I
see.
wish. I wish.
Okay.
So there's actually a quote I want to read from the end of this press release article that says, this is from Alan Bohbot. It says, quote, "The King Arthur series and its sequel, Princess Gwenevere," not a sequel, "as adapted by Mad Cave Studios to reflect a modern take of the Arthurian legends with a more dramatized version will target an older audience that never tires of these great tales, said Alan Bohbot, managing director of 4-1 Entertainment, adding that the new graphic novels, quote, may well serve as a foundation of story and design content for potential new YA animated projects, end quote. So, I mean, it sounds like they're basically trying to soft relaunch something here. And maybe if it gains a little bit of traction with a graphic novel, there's the potential of, animating it. Maybe something like their Supernatural Academy on Peacock.
The thing that also came to mind was the Pink Ranger comics. And like the Power Ranger comics had those also came out. And like they know that their targeted audience is a little bit older. And it's like the comic design had a little bit of a retro design, but it also had like a modern take to it. But it like stayed kind of true to the designs. So I wonder if that's the route that they're going to take, since he said like it's aimed at an older audience, but also trying to get a new audience.
Right, which is, the lifeblood of any reboot, right?
Yeah.
You could appeal to the old fandom forever and a day, but it's not going to ever be enough to fully relaunch something. And we saw with She-Ra, if they had stuck to making something that, 45-year-olds wanted to watch only, then it would not have been the success that it was.
Because it resonated with a newer
it resonated with a new audience who loved it.
Right.
So, I would love to see that for Jewel Riders. But I'm what is that line from Beauty and the Beast? We should have never had our hopes up.
Oh my gosh! I thought you were gonna say, what's that line? Oh, you mean it was a fever dream? I dreamt it all up.
Yes.
Oh my.
Oh.
All right, so that's the fun for that. We've got more things to talk about, though. We've got we got a blog that we just released as well, all about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, so we hope you enjoyed reading and catching up all about Wonder Woman and the Star Riders, the 30th anniversary of the 1993 release that never happened.
Exactly. We love celebrating anniversaries of things that don't happen.
Exactly.
At least
it was fun to do a podcast recording for that as well, between my two babies, which is the Jewel Riders Archive podcast and the What a Doll podcast. I was like, there is a crossover potential for this property for both of these podcasts.
So we got a chance to chat with Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did the podcast. We've got the visuals. We have some beautiful scans as well, and some photographs of some promotional materials that if you haven't looked at, make sure to check out. It's on the website.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we said in that podcast, it's like they're so gorgeous to look at in the most 90s way, even if the whole thing is an utter mess.
Right. It's very Tenko reminiscent. And there's a reason for that.
Yes, which if you'll find out.
Exactly. And that's another segue. I just love my little segues. Tenko. So there's a video coming up that we are releasing featuring Princess Tenko. Do we have any other Tenko stuff coming up?
We did the large Tenko blog.
Okay.
Already.
That was already done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if there was anything else. So.
Yeah, I think mostly it was this new Tenko video, and we have a Tenko podcast.
Okay, that's
coming up as well.
Yeah, the Tenko podcast. That's right. I knew it was something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just too many things.
It goes hand in hand with the new video that we're going to be releasing.
Right. It's a trip. You're definitely gonna
it
enjoy
is so fun, and I think people are going to love this thing.
I hope so.
I love it. So
the music, just everything about it. It's so fun. Okay, so we've got the comic. We've got Peacock. We got Tenko. We've got Wonder Woman. We've got the 8th anniversary of Jewel Riders Archive coming up as well.
Oh my gosh, yes, this September.
Oh my goodness. So, okay. There's the buzzword. Segue!
Oh.
So, it's been 8 years.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of of some friends of the archive who sent us some messages from one of our previous videos. What did they tell you, basically?
Several friends of the archive were like, are you quitting? Because it kind of sounds like you're quitting. And I'm like, did that come across that way?
So, for you watching and listening, is that how you took it? Like, maybe it was a little bit of me starting to like butter the pan before I started to bake my cake. I don't know.
Right.
But I'll tell you, I did talk about the technological problems I ran into where during COVID I was so efficient and I just scheduled all the social media to come out, all the images, so that I made sure that every single image that was within our archive had been submitted and shared, and everything was on our social media.
And you're talking about using pre-scheduling programs.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And then they told me, oh yeah, no, after 2 years, those media expires. So like, and of course this was like on year 2 that it started doing that. So then, and that was back in October. And I remember we did a video and I was like, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like maybe I'll do it in the next time. Well, it's been 6 months or more. I mean, since I told you that, I mean,
Yeah.
it's been almost a year since they stopped
Right.
auto updating. And I've been trying to like share things on social media. I've been trying to, share as much as I can. And the thing is that if you are really interested, all these images are available on the website. So if you just go to the website, check out the tabs, look at the drop downs,
Yeah.
discover something. I mean, there's written content with the images, like then you can kind of view it as at your leisure, like, you could enjoy it. You could probably spend a whole entire 3-day weekend doing that. Because it took us
Just
8
reading
years
and
to
looking at
archive
everything on that website.
Exactly. I mean, it took us 8 years. So with that said, it is time for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and Ronnie Del Mar to say it's been fun and part ways. So, we may add something in the future. We may, there was another thing, is that Twitter for a while there was also doing auto things because it was automatically retweeting things. And even that stopped now. So it's like, okay, Twitter is not auto retweeting, Instagram is not posting the stuff, Facebook doesn't really have a way to, do that. So it's been 8 years. I've basically shared everything on the website. We don't have any more content to share.
No.
So,
I mean, outside of anything new that comes along, and a couple of like long-term blog things that we've got coming up, like
and
later
scheduled
this
videos.
year.
Yeah, and scheduled videos,
Yeah, and some scheduled videos on YouTube.
which
Like,
are scheduled for a while. Actually, they're
Yeah.
not ending anytime soon. But the social media will be ending. So social media updates are ending here. Again, we don't have any more content to basically share on the social
Yeah.
media. So
as friend of the archive, Lisa Dawn once told you, I can't believe you've
been able to stretch it out that long.
that long.
It's a 26 episode show, and you've stretched it out to be able
For
to talk
8
about it
years.
for 8 years. Well, that's just talent on my part. I mean, what can I say? Being a content creator.
Oh, that
You know?
makes me laugh every time I think about it.
It has been fun. I've enjoyed sharing. It's been
Yeah.
pleasurable. But again, it's like there's just no more content. And with the scheduling, kind of no longer working in my favor, it's like we've both got creative projects, and it's like I can't. I can't.
Mhm.
So basically everything is staying the way it is. We're not closing any of them in the same way that we haven't closed any of the other social medias. And even that they just released, what is it, Meta or whatever it is, the new platform.
Oh, Threads.
Threads.
From Meta,
Wait, is it
yeah.
Thread? Yeah. It's like back in the day, I would have been like, oh, I got to join this now. I got to start, doing it now. And I'm just all like, they could have it. I'm done. you know?
Oh, yes.
So that's my
Yeah.
news.
I mean, even on the website, the last few things that we've done are these really long deep dive articles for me where I compile huge things about like dragonflies and sky dancers and Tanko and now Wonder Woman.
Mhm.
I'd like to do one still about Sky Surfer Strike Force,
We've
which
got
is
stuff planned, like how I
yeah.
said.
So we still have some things for the website planned and articles and videos,
podcasts.
podcasts. Like, I think the podcast is definitely a platform that we'll stick with when
Mhm.
new things come up. It's a fun way to chat and to talk about new updates, especially fingers crossed, right? Like that we're going to be getting new
Right.
things coming through with this graphic novel
And possibly more.
and possibly more, possibly new. What is it? Animated content.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, something
Again,
like that.
And they praised us for it because they're like, you've kept the fandom alive and you've been so engaged and so important to this fandom. And it's like, yeah, and we kind of carried the brunt of all of it. And it's almost like all the work that we've done basically just led to you being able to re-release the stuff and relaunch it, which I guess is the purpose of a
Yes.
site like this. But it's definitely nothing that we ever had, in mindset. Like, we never thought, oh, this is like the blue sky dream. I think it was just so blue that it was out in like deep space, and we're
Yeah,
like,
it was
don't
so
even
blue
think
it was
about
black
that.
in outer space.
Exactly. I was thinking that basically, and it's like, that would have been fun, but also I just find it ironic that it's like, oh, like, okay, we've kind of come to Jesus, we've kind of understood that, like, it's time to wind down. So then that's when everything decides to happen.
I know, we had a good laugh about that on the phone the other day. It was just like, why now when we've literally been talking about like, okay, we're out of things to share, we're winding sort of the social media down, and we're slowly sort of winding sort of some of the other platforms down, that it's like, oh, by the way, we're making a graphic novel.
Come back. Yes, I know, right? They just don't want to see you leave.
I'm just like, I'm tired.
Yes, I know.
It's
But
like, you love something for so long,
28 years.
it becomes part of your DNA, right? But at the same time, like, an 8-year project is a really long gestation for a project. And I think we're both feeling it a little bit. I think we've both talked about different, like you said, like different creative projects we'd like to pursue. And sometimes I feel like we're not able to really give Jewel Riders and the archive the attention that it probably needs, because then we feel stretched a little thin.
Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. It's like, from 2015 to 2020, I had ideas of like, oh, I want to make this video, I want to edit this, I want to do this, I want to do that. It wasn't until literally the world shut down in 2020 that I was able to actually devote basically an entire year nonstop to Jewel Riders. 12 months basically, and probably more. Like, I would get up and that was like my clock in. Like, during quarantine, I would like basically get up, sit down, do Jewel Riders all day long, and then finish and then move on. And it's frustrating because it's like I did all that work of like scheduling and like preparing so that, this was something that Chris and I had talked about. And so we said, well, maybe this would be appropriate, like maybe in about 3 years or so, like let's finish releasing this stuff on social media. And that's literally when I went through the entire, like, all of our visual folders, and like I basically scheduled every single image to go out. And then, technology hates me. And it's just like, I haven't even had a chance to catch up. I mean, I have my personal life, I have my own career. Like, I don't even have the bandwidth to be able to dedicate, like, even just sitting down and rescheduling those things. So, I mean, I have like shared some other images, and like I said, I might share one or two, but generally the social media, so the three of them, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, will no longer be updated with new content. So it will not really even be monitored as much. Occasionally I will go in there. I will just check to see if there's messages, but overall,
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to send us a message about something
mhm.
and you really want us to see it for sure, like I wouldn't send it on a social media platform. I would send it to the archivist at jewelwritersarchive.com.
You can find
Or,
the email on the website.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's listed right on the website.
I mean, that is the email. So
Mhm. Yeah.
so they would just go ahead and use that email. So again, archivist at jewelwritersarchive.com. And we'll be happy to, respond back and share, memories
Yeah, I mean,
with you through
we
there.
love talking to other fans.
Or
Like
add a comment on the website, because Chris loves moderating comments.
I do. I actually just got a really lovely comment today from somebody on my Dragonflies blog who's like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I remember this." And I was like, that warms my cinder block heart.
Because you're like, someone read my blog.
Someone read my blog. Yes.
Exactly. And your memories of New York and all that
Yeah.
fun stuff. Yeah. I mean, of course, we get lots of, likes and things like that. And it's funny because for a while there, like, I would post basically every day. I mean, I had scheduled something where it was going out every day. And from there, like, we would get, a handful of likes on an image, maybe like one or two comments. And then when it changed and then things stopped auto publishing, I would do something like, maybe once a month or whatever it is. And all of a sudden, like, I would get like so many likes on that one thing. And I think it kind of goes back to like, if there's an oversaturation of the market, like people just,
Right.
don't like the things, and then all of a sudden when you don't share anything, all of a sudden you share one photo and all of a sudden you got 80 likes on that one photo, where it's like, meanwhile before, oh well, what happened to my faithful only 13, because that's all I ever got.
Yeah, I mean, and you're battling the algorithms for all of these programs
Right.
for people to see things, and it can be very demoralizing, right, when you're putting all this together.
I wanted to put in there too, when you're talking about social media, our handle is Jewel Writers and Jewel Writers Archive on
Mhm.
Instagram. Again, this is all just black sky ideas, but if they really launch something, I would hate to think that they take my handle and claimed Jewel Writers. I would be really upset. They should name it Jewel Writers Reboot or something, like.
Well, sure.
Or I guess we could change our name on Twitter to Jewel Writers Archive. But I'm just like, these are the things I'm thinking of. Like,
Or they could use Jewel Writers Official or something like that.
well, here's hoping. They better not take Jewel Writers, because then I'll just.
I know. I'm like, I know. We got this. We're like, I want them.
Right. Because that was the thing about Instagram, that there was a Jewel Writers Archive. I mean, a Jewel Writers handle. Someone was using Jewel Writers, and I remember asking them, and they never responded. So I think that they've just been inactive for like 8 years. But yeah,
I know.
That's the reason why it's Jewel Writers Archive and not Jewel Writers on Instagram.
Who knew there was somebody out there who beat you to Jewel Writers on Instagram?
Well, I mean, you were posting your images back in 2007 on Flickr, so.
Oh yeah, Flickr and LiveJournal.
So there were obviously still fans.
Dust off the coffin of LiveJournal.
Exactly. So again, I think that we've already kind of, beat the dead horse, but the social media will be ending, and the YouTube channel and the podcast and the blog, so the website, will remain for now as well. So that will be someplace to still go.
Nothing is going down. Nothing is being taken down.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that was taken down were the episodes.
You're not gonna get too early. You're not gonna get a 404 error.
Right. Like, if for some reason in 2 years, like, the site breaks, which it may do. I mean, WordPress updates have been known to kill sites at some point, and we've been working on a WordPress base from 8 years ago. So, at some point it won't be supported anymore, I'm sure.
Tell me that. I'll just be upset.
Oh.
Go over there in the corner and cry, honestly.
Aw.
Like, I would.
Yeah, I
I'd just
mean,
cry.
hope well, that will direct you to the web archive
Oh, there you
captures
go.
of it. So
Yeah, I guess that works. We could still visit Avalon that way
right,
too.
all these years later, we can still visit Stormy's Avalon site in the captures of it, which is very
Right.
fun.
Does the Wayback Machine still capture things today,
That is a very good question,
or did it end?
to which I do not know the answer.
Well, there you go.
I guess we'll have to research that, or if somebody knows, let us know.
Let's go to the Wayback Machine to look it up. Are you still capturing
Are
things?
you still capturing us?
Or are you an old thing too?
I know.
Oh no. Well, there you go. So yeah, so we've got plans for the podcast. We got plans for the blog. We still got videos coming out. So that's that. It was one of those things like I needed to tell you the truth. I needed to just tell you how I'm feeling.
Thank you for coming out to
You're
us
welcome.
all.
Coming out as a Jewel Writer's workaholic. You're welcome. Yes.
I need to tell you something very important.
Right.
You're gay? No, I do social
I'm
media too much.
exhausted. Oh, is that all? Oh my.
No, it's been a great 8 years, like interacting with people and meeting people and having some Jewel Writers community that we'd never really gotten to experience too much before.
I was thinking about that because in addition, since we're talking about, our edits basically being published or produced and shared as basically official releases, we've also interacted with much of the talent. There's been Carrie Butler, Jean Louisa Kelly, Corrine R, and even John Beach wrote us a letter. Like, we've interacted with this
Greg
talent. And
Attore.
I was going to get to the artistic side of things. I mean, there was Greg Attore, there is Lou Fagenson, there's some of the let's see, who else did we talk to? I mean, we talked to Avalon Web of Magic people. Like we talked to Allie, we talked to the lyricist, the music. Deborah, yeah, Allison. Yes, okay. Oh, you're gonna go and look at everything.
I'm gonna look it up because now I feel.
I think it's Deborah Allison. That sounds right.
Yes.
It's like there's so many people that we've talked to, but yeah, I mean, Greg constantly through the years, and having that discussion, written content with people who worked on the show and doing conversations with fans. Like, we've done so much. I mean, think about it. It's like, honestly, it also, I mean, this is something more on a personal note, but it's like I use the Jewel Writers Archive to basically get a marketing manager position. Like, I showed our work to the marketing director for Disney, and they were really impressed by it. I mean, I think that overall, the Jewel Writers Archive is quite...
Deborah Davis.
Is it Allie?
Allie Strom is the artist, yes.
Who's Allison then? Who's Deborah Allison? Where are you?
Oh my gosh, that's so familiar.
I know, right?
What
You
am I
look her up.
missing?
Is that an actress?
I think it is.
I don't know. She's up there with Ann Miller and Judy and Lucy. Deborah Allison, isn't it who Ann Miller says? Or is that Jude Allison?
That's Jude Allison.
I don't even know. My brain is just mush. I don't know who Deborah Allison is. Who are you? Are you a fan? Is there a Deborah out there listening to this right now? I don't know. It doesn't matter. We'll move on. Or are you still looking it up?
I'm still looking it up. Oh.
June Allison over there in her dungarees.
Exactly.
Well, we've got dead air right now. We might be a video, but this is also a podcast.
Oh, well, you can cut this out.
Bye. It's okay. While Chris continues
Oh,
to...
Deborah Allison is the voice of Fallon.
Oh my gosh, that's who it is! Oh.
I was like, I know it's there. It's right there.
Okay, so anyone who's listening to this or watching this right now who actually knew that it was Fallon, I'm going to give you like the biggest props right now. Congratulations to you if you knew that. I
We're
really
both
want
too tired to remember.
I don't know. It's almost like, Henry Mandel. That's a name that we know. Where do we know Henry from? Did we meet him at the bar last night? I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and this is why we're stopping, because we can't even remember anything anymore.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Deborah Allison. She was married to John Beach.
Yes.
There's that really funny segment from the video that if you haven't seen it, where she's bouncing up and down and John's all like, oh, what are you doing for me? I'm like, oh, it's inappropriate.
I love that video.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm blanking. What's Tamara's actress's name? Again, if you're listening to this and you know it, I give you props. I don't even know anymore.
The first thing that came to my mind, Laura Dean.
Laura Dean.
But the first thing that came to my mind was Barbara Jean Kearney, which I know is not. And it came to my mind, I'm like, I know that's not it.
Barbara was another voice in there.
Yeah.
But don't ask Carrie, because she's not going to remember anything about this show. Was I in that? Did I do that? Was that me?
That makes me laugh every time I think about by the power of the jewel stones.
I told one of my friends that he's a big theater person, and I told him about Carrie Butler. He's like, oh my gosh, you talked to Carrie? I'm like, oh, He's like, of course, she's from Beetlejuice and this and that. I'm like, yes. And I was like, and she didn't really remember anything about Jewel Riders.
To be fair, this was 28 years ago.
Well, when I talked to her, it was what, like 18 years later? But still. No, not 18. It was like 20.
It was over 20.
It was 22 or 23. 22, I think. Anyway. There it is.
Yes.
She's had 6 years to think about this. Maybe she finally remembers something. Maybe I need to try to re-interview her.
Oh my goodness.
But Corinne Orr had a lot to share. But I think that's just because she's been doing a lot of like voiceover work and whatnot.
Right. Corinne was a delight to talk to. And, she's been in everything from the 60s onward, basically.
Right.
She's been Marine Boy and Speed Racer, and she's the Snuggles the Bear from Downey.
Yeah.
Just think, Lady Kale, Snuggles the Bear.
Makes
Where did these line up?
Exactly, Well, and then also Laura Dean, she was the voice on that Tales of the Crystals or whatever is that game.
Yes.
Remember the cassette tape? Yeah. She's on there. We need to play that. That'd be fun.
All right. Well, for the 10th anniversary of the site, we'll
play the game.
We'll do a live recording of playing Tales.
See, the thing is that you tell me that, and then I'm gonna hold you to it.
Oh well, we got to get Stormy there too.
Oh no, Stormy! She's gonna have to come and see us. But the point is that it's just there's been a lot of fun things over the years. All the interviews, all the conversations. I mean, think about it. It's like when we started the archive, it was like, oh, we want a place to share like our photos and the dolls and maybe some of these fun scripts that you had recently bought.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
our big ticket item was the show Bible.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, now think about it. It's like, I've got cells over there that I just have them sitting in a box, just sitting there. Like, we've got cells, we've got prototypes, we've got merchandise that wasn't released, we've got toys and interviews and source videos and my God.
I mean, I think it really has fulfilled the word archive
Mm.
in its title.
Right.
You know, we have archived.
Congratulations.
Yes, we've literally archived everything we have except maybe those last few cells that we just don't feel like scanning because they're a pain.
No, everything's scanned. Well, for the most part, it's just the site is still being updated with a few things.
Yeah, we still have a
Here
few
and
more
there.
things to add to the site.
Like I said, we're still doing some videos. I mean, I just pulled up the socks. We've still got an archive showcase episode that's going to eventually come out. I've got the motion comic I'm still trying to edit. So there are things that are still coming out. Just Ronnie
Yes.
will not be coming out for Instagram. He already came out as a workaholic and he's done.
Yes, he needs to go lay down.
I do. I'm going to roll up my sleeping bag and sleep in the Gwenevere sleeping bag.
I love that it will cover only the lower half of your body.
Or the top half if it's all the way
Yes.
up there. Yes, pretty much.
You to get a good night's sleep.
Right? Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, I don't want to end this like on a negative note. Like, I don't want you to feel like we're like abandoning you because I know I got abandonment issues.
oh
And-
my
I mean,
gosh.
if you watch Mystery Island, you've got abandonment issues because you suddenly like, what happened after that? Is that the end? Do they just go away and that's the end? You know?
Well, it wouldn't be rare for an American cartoon to end with a nothing episode.
Right. But I mean, you know, and even that, like, you know, how long after that did we finally, that wasn't that long. Because I mean, the show ended in 96. When did we get Stormy's tapes? Was it like
Probably,
2000?
I would say 98, 99, 2000,
Was
somewhere
it?
in there.
Okay, so it's about 3 years or so. 4 years, maybe. Anyway, point is, we've done a lot. It's been a lot of fun things. It
Yeah.
has, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a great time doing this, and we're so grateful for everyone who's come along for this ride with us.
In the
And
wild.
you know, we may keep updating about any new developments with the comic as it happens. So, you know, stay tuned for that.
I hope that they give me something to share. I told her, I said, you know, content would help you, and we're a social media influencer.
Ugh.
All 1,000 of my
Influencer,
followers.
yeah.
You know, hey, it's already a niche market for this property, so I think we've done pretty good.
Oh, we moved beyond niche. We're
We're corner, like
Exactly.
corner. You know, but no, I mean, I think cumulatively, like, I would say we have somewhere in the range of like 10,000 followers over everything, over
Mhm.
all the cores, which again, you thought it was all, I mean, with the way that people say it's a fever dream, you'd think, oh, there was like 200 people in all the world who knew this. So I
Right.
guess, you know, hey, we've brought together a couple of thousand fans and shared memories over 8 years, and we'll continue to be sharing some stuff, but that's impressive. And like, you look at my Instagram page, it's like, how many posts? Like, let me just pull it up. I am interested. Let me see. How many posts do you think that I've done since starting this in 2015? At least just on Instagram. I'm gonna do the numbers. I'm gonna tell you right now. And again, these might not be 100% just because there might be a few things that'll happen like in between here and there. But for right now, let's do Twitter and Instagram. How many posts do you think that I've done since 2015?
Ooh, on Instagram?
Mm.
5,000.
Okay, you know me. 4,148. So
That's so many.
I'm gonna do, okay, let's just think about this. 8 times 365 is only 2,900. So that means that there's been more posts on Instagram than 2. Is it 2 a day? Is it just under it? No, it's just under it, but it's about like 1.5 posts a day. Well, there we go.
Yes.
It's, hold on. It's come full circle.
I'm just.
And now it's time for you to begin your jewel quest. Unless you have a Song of the Rainbow. But remember, travel trees can't dance.
And I'm gonna go put myself out to pasture at Home Sweet Hearthstone.
Only if you invite the fairy princess.
And her biker sheep.
Yes. No, you're supposed to use other titles.
Yes, I know.
Well, you failed.
I'm
Wait. I'm
I'm just a shadow song.
Wait. This is also something that Chris and I were just talking about, was our favorite quotes as well. And I have to tell you, like, there are really some fun quotes that, like, we will often tell each other. And I think that right now, like, of course nothing is gonna come to mind.
Of course, it's not gonna come to you now. It's gonna come to you at night when we're like on the telephone.
Right, when you're laying in bed. No, but I mean, some of our favorite things that we love to say is, like, whenever we talk about something, we're like, I like to be surprised when you're talking about
Yes.
something.
And which is from the wishing, not the
No.
the wishing jewel? The
No.
fortune jewel.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. The other one that we will often say is, which I don't know, what is it? The red or the lavender? The red is nice.
Yes.
Song of the Rainbow.
Song of the Rainbow, yes.
And then, then one from Full Circle where we say, the only thing we have to discuss is your removal from this setting or whatever it is.
Yes. You also like to grit your teeth at me and tell me, Anya,
your reign as queen is history, and so are you.
Look at that. That was 28 years of practice.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't move a single toe. I didn't move my lips.
That was
You're ready
almost
for a career in ventriloquism, I can see.
I was gonna. Ronnie Del Mar does impressions of Corinne R. What are some other ones that we like to say? I think those are like really the most memorable ones, but they just come and go. I mean, I'm interested now for people who are watching this. Like, what are your favorite quotes? Like, what do you ever quote things from Jewel Writers?
What
Because
quotes
we
have
do.
you weaponized against your friends?
You're supposed to be my friend.
And then just gonna remove me from the setting.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just so many of them where I think that I like to be surprised is probably one of the most used ones, but
Oh, we do the little Cleo.
yeah. There has to be other ones. I know that there's definitely Kale ones, but we'll just say it at random. But anyway, those are fun
how
times.
it just lives rent free in our brains and just pops out at
Exactly.
inconvenient times.
Or very awkward times where, like,
Yeah.
we're at a friend's wedding and you're bidding on Jewel Writers on eBay.
We're at Disneyland bidding on Jewel Riders on eBay.
We're at a show bidding on Jewel Writers on eBay.
Uh-huh.
Which is a D23. Chris
Oh my
goes
gosh.
live.
That's right.
And then Chris is upset.
The place with the worst Wi-Fi connectivity I've ever
I know.
experienced. Yeah.
I know. See, there's so many memories. This is fun. This is like a walk down the Jewel Road leading to the Jewel Castle.
This is like the old-time Jewel Hour.
Exactly. Here's your host, Chris Cantor and Ronnie Del Mar. They were kids back in the 90s, and now they relive their memories of Princess Gwenevere, the
And now
Jewel
they're
Riders.
worn out and old. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh my
exactly.
God. Oh. Well, I think with that, we will say we love you all. There's a few things coming, and we'll still be around. So say hi when you think of Jewel Riders. If you have great news or anything to share with us, please let us know. Let us know at the Archivist email, especially if you really, if it's if you.
Archivist at jewelwritersarchive.com.
Archivist at jewelwritersarchive.com. Correct. And that's a great place to always reach us.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, shall I say, friends together?
Friends
forever.
forever. At least until the end of the month.
Oh, rude.
Just kidding.
Together we'll grow strong. In a world of magic, we all need someone to count on. Yeah. Let's build a circle of friends. To be. Let's tell the world a new day is coming. Nothing will keep us apart. There's no beginning nor end. One by one. Friends together, friends forever.
By the magic of the Sunstone, you're tuned into the Jewel Riders Archive.